I feel like my writing has changed to reflect wherever I've been.
If you're looking back to maybe your older songs and listening to them, reading the lyrics, what do you think is the most important difference between the stuff you write today and then maybe 8, 9 years back?
Yeah. Well, firstly, I mean, I think it's every record you do feels like the best thing, you know, because you've just done it and it feels incredible. And I think if you're kind of working at the very limits of your abilities, it'll be as good as you can make it, you know. If you're honest about it, you know, if you're putting out the stuff only you believe in, then you're. But I think that the big differences are kind of, you know, I started with just a guitar because that's all I could do, and that was kind of the limit of what I knew about, you know, it was just me and my guitar, you know, and then moved on. And I've never believed in the total Americana thing, but I mean, I grew up in Idaho. I grew up with trains and out in the mountains on the edge of the prairies. It's like, it's a real place to me, and like, I wrote about that stuff, and as time has gone on, I feel like my writing has changed to reflect wherever I've been and the new ideas that have come into my life and the new music that's come in. Those are. It's really true that if you write a record over like a year or like a short amount of time, that everything that you've been obsessed with during that amount of time will be in that record, you know. So travel and displacement and drinking beer with your friends, all those things, like, you know, will end up on one record, whereas the next one will be about, you know, just getting heartbroken, or, you know, or like, you know, falling in love with like kind of discovery and exploration and kind of science. And yeah, it's each one though is like a different person writes it, you know what I mean? Because it is a different person, you know, it's like a different whole other person wrote it, you know what I mean? It's like,
So what do you think your obsession is on So Runs the World Away?
Definitely on I'd say on exploration, like on the kind of on late 19th century exploration. There's a lot of that. There's like, whether it's the archaeologist in the Curse, or whether it's the guy in his ship in Another New World, or Orbital, speaking about the kind of concentric orbits of planets and molecules and protons. There's a lot of, like, you know, early 20th century, late 19th century science and exploration on the record, and just because I think those ideas are, it seems like that was a time when everything seemed like it was really optimistic, you know, and then we could figure anything out, you know, and then, you know, we found out that wasn't the case, you know, the last 100 years, but that time it just seemed like there was this moment when you know, we could find the answer to anything, you know, which was an amazing idea that we had that idea. I mean, it's hard to believe we had that idea at one time, but like, I think it was a really interesting time for me to learn about. Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Yeah. Sort of.
Did you find your answers?
No, I mean,
questions in your life?
No, and I think that's great. You know, I'm not looking for any real big answers. You know, you know, you can't find the biggest answers. There's no real reason. It's kind of, that's why I guess maybe like the exploration thing is interesting. Is like, it was never with those guys. You know, with Stanley or Livingston or any of these people. They were, you know, Cabeza de Vaca. You know, all these people, Pizarro. They were never like, you know, for whatever reason. You know, they were never looking for, you know, something they could actually find, you know, whether it's Atlantis or El Dorado or the source of the Nile, you know, those were just ideas, you know. Even Livingston, when with Stanley, when they found these people found this stuff, they stayed, you know, like they weren't interested in like finding it, they were interested in like the process. And I would at least like to think that like, that you're not like, that, you know, the one thing you can learn in life is that you're never going to know everything, you know. So, and especially not the big questions, because those kind of change every day, you know, the big answers and the big questions.